Picture this, a universe where energy never disappears, it only transforms. Sounds fascinating, doesn't it? It's our reality, a dance of energy constantly shifting from one form to another. This dance, my friends, is the heartbeat of our universe. It's the principle that guides the stars in the sky, the wind in the trees, and the thoughts in our minds. It's a fundamental law of nature that energy cannot be created or destroyed, only transformed. Welcome aboard on this cosmic journey to understand the law of conservation of energy. Now, you might be wondering, what exactly is this law of conservation of energy? Well, imagine you're at a grand party. The guests at this party represent energy in the universe. The fascinating thing is, no guests ever leave or enter this party. The number of guests remains constant. But what's interesting is that these guests love to change their outfits. One moment, they might be dressed as light energy. The next moment, they might switch to thermal energy, and perhaps later they might turn up in the garb of chemical energy. This is the essence of the law of conservation of energy. It tells us that the total amount of energy in a closed system remains constant, no matter how the energy may transform or change its form. Consider, for instance, a roller coaster ride. The roller coaster at the highest point of its track possesses a certain amount of potential energy. As it descends, this potential energy transforms into kinetic energy, the energy of motion. And yet, the total amount of energy, the sum of the potential and kinetic energy, remains the same throughout the ride. Or think about a light bulb. Electrical energy is transformed into light and heat energy when the switch is flipped. Again, the total amount of energy remains the same. It's just that the energy has changed its form, its outfit, if you will. And it's not just in these examples. The law of conservation of energy is a universal law. It applies to all situations and all scales, from the microscopic interactions of particles to the vast expanses of the cosmos. The energy in the universe is like a shapeshifter, constantly changing forms, but never disappearing or magically appearing out of nowhere. This law assures us of the persistence and the constancy of energy. In a nutshell, energy remains constant. It just changes its attire. All right, so how does this law play out in our everyday lives? Well, energy transformations are happening all the time in ways you might not even realize. Let's take a look at some examples. Imagine it's breakfast time. You're about to dig into a hearty meal. That food you're eating, it's packed with chemical energy. When you consume it, your body gets to work. It breaks down the food, transforming the chemical energy into kinetic energy. This kinetic energy, in turn, powers your body, allowing you to do work, move around, and even think. Now consider a light bulb. When you flip the switch, electricity, which is electrical energy, flows into the bulb. Inside the bulb, a fascinating transformation takes place. The electrical energy is converted into light energy, illuminating the room. Think about your car too. When you pump gas into your vehicle, you're filling it with chemical energy. As the car runs, it converts this chemical energy into mechanical energy, which moves the wheels and gets you from point A to point B. And let's not forget about the sun, our primary source of energy. The sun shines because of nuclear fusion, a process that transforms nuclear energy into radiant energy. This radiant energy reaches Earth, providing the heat and light that sustain life. Even your smartphone is an example of energy transformation. The electrical energy from the charger is converted into electromagnetic energy, which allows you to send and receive messages, make calls, and surf the internet. So whether it's eating a meal, flipping a switch, driving a car, or using a smartphone, energy transformations are constantly occurring. They're an integral part of our daily lives, even though we might not always be aware of them. In fact, every single action we perform involves some form of energy transformation. And all these transformations adhere to the law of conservation of energy, which states that energy can neither be created nor destroyed, only transformed from one form to another. So you see, energy transformations are happening all around us all the time. But what's the science behind this law? Let's delve deeper. The law of conservation of energy is closely intertwined with the principles of thermodynamics, particularly the first law. Thermodynamics, by definition, is the study of heat and energy and their interconversion. Now, the first law of thermodynamics states that energy cannot be created or destroyed in an isolated system. This essentially mirrors the premise of the law of conservation of energy. The first law of thermodynamics, also known as the law of energy conservation, explains that the total energy of an isolated system remains constant. It may change from one form to another, but the total energy within the system is conserved. This is a fundamental concept in physics and is applicable to a wide array of phenomena, from the smallest particles to the vast expanses of the universe. Think of a hot cup of coffee. The heat from the coffee disperses into the air, thus cooling the coffee but warming up the surrounding environment. The total amount of energy in the form of heat remains constant. It's just transferred from the coffee to the air. Another fascinating aspect of this law is the concept of potential and kinetic energy. Potential energy is the stored energy an object possesses due to its position or state, while kinetic energy is the energy of motion. When a ball is thrown into the air, it has maximum potential energy at the highest point, and as it falls, this potential energy converts into kinetic energy. Regardless of the transformation, the total energy remains conserved. This principle also extends to chemical reactions where energy is neither created nor destroyed, but merely converted from one form to another. Even in nuclear reactions where matter is converted into energy following Einstein's famous equation, E=mc2, the total energy matter content of the universe remains unchanged. So the law of conservation of energy is not just a theory, it's a fundamental principle of nature. Now that we understand the law, what impact does it have on our lives? The law of conservation of energy is not just a scientific concept, it's an everyday reality that influences various aspects of our lives, from technology and environment to the economy. Let's start with technology. Every gadget we use, be it a smartphone or a microwave, operates on the principle of energy transformation. The electrical energy that powers your devices is converted into other forms like light, sound, or heat. Understanding the law of conservation of energy helps engineers design efficient devices that minimize energy loss, but it's not just about gadgets. This law has a profound impact on our environment as well. Renewable energy sources like wind and solar power are based on the idea of harnessing natural energy and converting it into usable forms. The law of conservation of energy is fundamental to these technologies, enabling us to reduce our dependence on non-renewable resources and curbing the damage to our environment. And then there's the economy. Energy efficiency is a significant economic factor. Industries strive to optimize their processes to consume less energy, and households aim to reduce their energy bills. These efforts are all guided by the law of conservation of energy. By understanding this law, we can make informed choices to save energy and, consequently, money. Moreover, the law of conservation of energy also affects our understanding of the universe. From the movement of the planets to the life cycle of the stars, energy conservation is a key principle that guides our comprehension of these cosmic phenomena. It's fascinating to think that this simple law, first proposed centuries ago, continues to shape our world in so many ways. It is a testament to the interconnectedness of all things, reminding us that every action has an impact. It encourages us to think critically about our energy use and inspires us to seek more sustainable ways of living. The law of conservation of energy thus shapes our world in ways more than one. As we wrap up our cosmic journey, let's take a moment to appreciate the magic of energy transformations. We've unveiled the law, observed its workings in our daily lives, and delved into the science behind it. This law of conservation of energy, so beautifully woven into the fabric of our existence, reminds us that energy merely changes, never disappears.